Hey everyone, I just returned from delivering a paper this past weekend at the Evangelical Theological Society Northeast Regional Annual Meeting in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania at Baptist Bible Seminary. And yeah, the delivery of the paper was good. I got some good feedback. It's a paper I want to get published. The name of it is the Terminus a Quo of the Binding of Satan, a functional linguistic analysis of Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 through chapter 20, verse 3. And the terminus a quo is it's just a technical Latin expression that simply means the earliest starting point of something. And here in this paper, I argue that the binding of Satan has to happen it can't happen before the second coming of Christ. So first of all, let me just explain what the millennial debate is not about. It's not about whether the 1,000 years is literal or not. I believe it is literal. I don't think there's any good reason not to take it as literal. But maybe it is symbolic and it refers to a very long period of time. Maybe it's going to be 10,000 years. Right? We don't know 100% sure, but I believe that there's no other good reason not to take it as 1,000 years. And we can agree with amillennials on 2 points. Number one, we both agree that this denotes the 1,000 years denotes a very long period of time. And number two, that this period of time begins with the binding of Satan. Now, of course, the watershed question, this is where the debate begins, is when does the binding of Satan begin? They believe the terminus quo is the first coming of Christ, and we premillennials believe it's the second coming of Christ. And in this paper, what I did was I drew from, I modeled Michael Halliday's and Hassan's systemic functional linguistic methodology model, theoretical understanding of language, more specifically drawing from their cohesion analysis, showing that the binding of Satan text is unified with what comes before it. I mean, chapter breaks are, Stephen Langton of early 13th century archbishop, who introduced the modern chapter break system to our Bibles. Unfortunately, many of them were placed at bad places, at very misleading places. There shouldn't be a chapter 20 there because what it does, it bifurcates the unified text, the coherent text. The binding of Satan text needs to be understood in light of what comes before it. So I argued that there's cohesion ties that connect the victory of Jesus at the eschatological battle, that brings about the binding of Satan. So the victory of Jesus brings about the restraint of not two enemies of God, the beast and the false prophet, but also the binding of Satan. The three should be seen together. And so so that's what I argued for in the paper. And amillennialists, they want to begin a whole new discourse starting in chapter 20, verse 1. You can't do that. Again, they bifurcate it, disrupt the unity of that text, and retroject the binding of Satan all the way back to the first coming of Christ. You can't do that. There's no textual evidence for it. That's why amillennialists cannot stay in the text. They have to go outside of the text to try to argue for their position. So I actually treated this topic in an early episode on the Biblical Prophecy program. When does the binding of Satan's 1,000 years begin? Revelation chapter 19, verse 11 through 20, verse 3 supports premillennialism, not amillennialism. And that you can find that at allenkirshner.com/3, or that's episode 3. I'll just leave a link in the notes, and you can click on to that. And I don't get into some of the more technical linguistic issues, but I just talk it more in general terms and bring out some of these issues. So I'd really encourage you to listen to that episode. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a recap of the weekend and point you to this program on this important topic.